Hi everyone, welcome to InterviewPro. In the last video, we learned how to create a reactive form using Form Builder. And we haven't seen the validations using reactive form yet. We have seen it in the template driven forms, but not with reactive forms. So today, let's learn how to add a simple validation to this form using form builder and also using form group and form control. So what I want to do is I want to make this name and feedback as required fields and enable submit only when these two fields are available, when they have data. So let's see how we can do that using reactive forms. Usually in template driven forms, what we did was we just went to the respective control and added required keyword here. So there is nothing wrong in adding the required attribute in HTML, but reactive form is all about TypeScript. We manage our complete code in the TypeScript file. So this is where we should add validators. So there is a class called validators in Angular forms. So let's just import it and see how it can be used. So when I created this a username form control using form builder, I said this is going to be an array where the first value will represent the default value for the respective control. So the validators will go here. The remaining values in this array represent the validators. So let's add validators class. And these are the different validators that this class provide. What we want is required. We want to make username and feedback also as required. So I added this required field in username and feedback. Let me just remove this default value. Let it be an empty string for now. Now let's go back to screen and inspect console. So if you remember in the submit, we are adding feedback form to the console. So let me just submit it. We see the form group and form control. So form group, the status is invalid. Why? Because name and feedback are required fields, but there is no data yet. Let me just close this and provide some data here. User 1, awesome tutorial. Now if I submit, let's look at the form group. This is valid because all the required fields have data. Now I want to disable this submit when there is no data in either of these fields. So let me just clear the console and clear these values. Now if I click on submit, go to form group, the status is invalid. Also, there is a property called valid here, which says false. So we can make use of this property and enable or disable submit button based on this property. When these two values are available, this valid will be true. So we'll enable submit. Otherwise, we'll just disable it. So this is our submit button. Let's add a disabled attribute using attribute binding. Now, to add the condition, this is our variable that represents our form, and we have a property called valid. If this is not valid, then we want to disable it. Or you can directly use the property invalid. So if invalid is true, we'll disable it. If it's false, we'll enable it. Now let's go back to screen and yeah, now we see the submit button is disabled. If I type something like user 1, now we have both name and feedback and the submit button is enabled. If you want to use form control instead of form builder, then you can add the validators here. So if you put a comma beside the default value, you'll see validator options in the syntax. So I'll just copy paste the same thing, validators dot required, and here also it's validators dot required. This will also work in the same way as it did with the form builder. So this is how we add a simple required validation to our reactive forms using form builder and form group and form control. I hope the concept is clear. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to InterviewPro. Thank you.